I've started to build my own tools for my business. It's just as easy for me to go and build one myself with Claude Code. But to be honest, they look like I built them myself. I'm not a designer, and they kind of look sloppy. They work how I want them to, but they just look homemade. And AI is writing the code just fine. I do some tuning, but it still looks like a science project. If I ever wanted to present this to somebody, I wouldn't get good looks, because people decide if your app looks good in about 50 milliseconds before they even click a single thing. So today I'm going to take an app that I built myself and I use every day, and I'm going to let Claude Design 2.0 redesign the whole thing for me. I'm not a designer. I have no design skills. I'm just going to use prompts and a little bit of help from Claude Code and redesign the whole thing so it looks pretty on my end. Here's the plan. First, I'm going to show you the bare app I use every day. Then I'm going to show you how I'm going to use Claude Design to redesign the whole build. And then we're going to update it together live. And throughout, I'll be giving you tips on how to do this on your own. Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Probert. I have a computer science degree and I'm an ex-software engineer. And I build AI systems for small businesses and on my own live on this channel. And the first thing up is actually taking a look at the app I built for myself. And you can see here in the middle of the screen something I created called voice type. I didn't really give it a name. Claude Code just decided to name it voice type because of what it does. You've seen a lot of these over the internet nowadays, especially on the AI channels. And it's basically an AI transcriber that you can use to type into any text box. And so you can see I've been doing some work here. I can pause it so it doesn't strain my computer too much. But basically what it does is lets me talk with my voice into any text box like this. And so I'm holding down my buttons, it's recording my voice, and it's typing for me. And when I release the two buttons, it should paste it into the text box at the bottom here. And so there you can see it just pasted what I said. It's a very handy tool, especially if you're using Claude Code a lot, or you just don't feel like typing. Saying things with your voice is much faster, and you're able to get explanations out much quicker with more explanatory words because you're actually saying them as you think instead of translating them into words. And so I'm sure you've seen the Whisper flow and all of the clones like it, but Claude Code helped me build this in about a couple hours. I simply said to Claude Code, I want to recreate the app Whisper flow, but local to my computer so I don't have to pay for it. Please explain to me how we can do this, and let's start making a plan. And so something as simple as this will allow you to start building there. The one caveat I would say is that it might be slightly slower if your computer doesn't have a GPU or a graphics card. And that's because my computer is using the power of the graphics card instead of the CPU to actually make this super quick with a local Whisper AI model. What we're going to do today is we're going to take this basic app and turn it into something that doesn't look, poorly designed. Everything in here is basic text. There's no real design to any of what you see on screen. Even the scroll bar is like basic scroll bar from old Windows back in the day. And we can do a lot better. And so we're going to head to Claude Design next to start building the design tools so we can give back to Claude Code to design it for us. The first thing we're going to do is actually try to pull in all of our branding and create a consolidated design system with Claude Design. And so I already know that the branding in my AIOS workspace is a little all over the place because I did a V3 of my website with completely new design, and I have old canonical brand framework that I wanted to change to this new one. And so let's take a look at my website first. Here it is, and you can see how this is how this looks. It's got the clean text. It's got some of these nice rounded, warm elements to it. You can see my colors, the orange, dark blue, the lighter blue for some of these, just clicking through. And it's got some of these animations in there already. Generally warm, generally inviting, and much better looking than what the app looks like. And so you can kind of see the difference between the two. And so what I did to start this off is actually ask Claude Code what this V3 design system was. And so I asked it, where is the design system that we created in this workspace for the V3 website? And it brought up that I have two different design systems that we need to consolidate. And I basically asked it what I could give to Claude Design to update the design system to give back to Claude Code to create our canonical version. And so it gave me these two differences. It asked me which one I wanted to focus on, canonicalize, the V3 framework and the direction, it started and created a design refresh brief that basically walks me through redesigning it in Claude Design. And so we can take a look at that. And so we have our prompt to give to Claude Design. I can just copy and paste this. And it also told me to attach all of these different items here, told me to decide the token values, and I can probably just hand this entire brief to Claude Design and it should help me figure it out. And so that's what we're going to do next is head over to Claude Design and actually follow the brief. And so we're going to come in here into our design system in Claude Design. You can see it's already created before. We have System Success Pro design system up here. We're just going to follow this brief word by word and work through it to create our new design system. So first I'm going to paste that entire prompt. It's saying to do this, making sure it's full in there. Yep. And then we need to go down and actually grab our uploads, which I'll do that and jump to when it's uploaded. And so I'm back and you can see I've pasted full prompt and then everything that was included in the design brief. It's a whole bunch of different documents and some screenshots. I'm going to just click send. And this whole design system is going to do a bunch of changes and stuff. And while this is going, I'm going to grab that the token values as well and just paste that while the first prompt is going. And so we can take a look. Here's the full prompt. I'm updating the canonical design, have an older design system, target direction, all that kind of stuff. It's asking to produce some stuff here. And we just paste our token values, which if you scroll through here, token values are just like stuff like this, the orange, navy blue backgrounds, cards, iconography, all that kind of stuff. And so we can see the updated to do here. Let me zoom in. It's going to work essentially the same as Claude Code or regular Claude does, work through each one of the to-dos until it's finished. I'm going to let that run and we'll come back to it once it's finished. And so we come back and it's all finished. We can scroll through it a little bit. We can see immediate changes here. Typography, shape, and warmth, white plus warm off-white surfaces, word mark only for Proxon, which is, I know, something that was in the brief. We have our color branding, similar pills and badges and buttons as well, similar daily brief. We can see the design actually changed here. The next step that I'm going to do with this is actually I'm going to go back into regular Claude and we're going to pick one of these templates and start building a design wireframe or prototype for our voice type app. And so we're going to come back to Claude Design and we're going to pick a prototype template. You can see that our design system is already selected here. I've asked Claude Code for another prompt, so that's what I'm going to paste in. It's basically saying what the app is, what the goal is. So redesign to look premium feel, SP brand as a dark expression, design these as connected high fidelity prototype frames. So the main window, so I scroll through these so you can read them. Floating pill, system tray, and we have some constraints. And I'm going to actually do a screenshot of the app just as a example. And so with this, it's going to create the prototype template, or using the prototype template, it's going to create the prototype. And that's something we're going to give to Claude Code for the full redesign. And so I'm going to let this run. We'll come back and take a look at it once it's finished. And then I'll show you how to take it to Claude Code so Claude can take over and redesign the actual app. I'm coming back as it's giving us some of the results here. We can see the differences or the updates as it comes in. And you can just already see the changes that it made. It looks much more professional, even if it's simple, and it generally looks much better. And so even with this practice of, doing it for an app that I built for myself, you can come into Claude Design, create a very basic design structure, provide screenshots of apps or websites that you think are good. That's how I made my website. And you can come in here and have it design this prototype for you and make it look like something that is actually designed by a designer. And I'm not a designer myself, so you can see here that this is creating something, actually good. And so if I hold down my recording key here, we can see the difference between these two. They're actual, animated things. We have this, updated on me. We have these icons, right-click menus. That's the stuff down in the Windows tray. And you can generally see this looks much more professional. And so now we're going to take this design and import it to Claude Code so we can actually redesign the app. To do this, Claude makes it very easy. You come up to the top right here. Well, my webcam's in the way. Drag this down a little bit so you can see. You go to the top right here, there's a little share button. We're going to go to send to and click send on Claude Code. And we're just going to copy this prompt here. And so then I'm going to take it to a new fresh Claude session. I'm going to hit paste. I'm going to enter a couple things. I also asked Claude for a general prompt for redesigning the whole thing. And this is what it gave me. So I'm going to copy this as well, come back and paste. And what this is going to do is it's going to implement the changes. It's going to take this Claude Design. To actually implement this correctly, it needs to move from tkinter to the PyWeb view, just so the app actually displays what we want it to. Some other stuff in here that I don't necessarily understand as well, but necessary for it to work. I'm going to click go, and I'm going to let Claude take over. While this is going, I'll show you a quick thing on how to grab your design system as well, so you can import it into Claude Code. I'm going to come to the 3 dots here. Oh, never mind. We're going to go into the design system. Again, it's the share button in the top right. So you have the options again. So export as PDF, video, all this kind of stuff, share links. But we're going to do send to again, copy this prompt. We're going to let this go as well. We're going to spin a 3rd session up here, drag this in here. I'll do my prime so it knows who I am from my AIOS. While that goes, we're going to wait and just watch this go. It's almost done. So this one's now done. I'm going to copy this prompt, paste it in here, and I'm basically going to tell it to update this as our canonical. I'm going to tell it the following. I want you to use this design system from Claude Design and update our canonical branding. Please use everything from this project and update all relevant branding canonical versions. If something doesn't make sense to switch, please ask me about it. I'm going to click enter and let it run. And so this is actually going to allow me to use the design system within Claude Code so I don't have to go back and forth. The reason I'm doing this is if I want to quickly spin up stuff without having to go to Claude Design, I can use this. But if I really want to edit the design and see how it's going to turn out without doing all the coding, I go to Claude Design. So we're going to let this run as well. We'll pull it over to the side so we can watch both. And we're going to let these run and do their work. And so we can take a look at some of the information it's giving back to us on the build. We've got the proposed structure, bridge API, state flow, that kind of stuff. It's coming to us with questions. And so we're just going to click the first one because I think that's just generally what I want. Main Chrome. We're going to go frameless and custom title bar. I don't really know what either of these means, but it's my own personal app, so I'm not too worried about it and I can change it whenever I want. And so it's still figuring out some bugs and errors, but the full app has been changed. We can see it here. We can see all the new stuff. It couldn't quite figure out the corners correctly, but it's mostly filled in and I don't really care that much. You can see the pause. If we go in, type somewhere, we can see recording and what I'm typing here. And when I undo it, it'll hit paste. And so you can see the actual app has the whole thing there. But again, the one issue you can see at the bottom, the recording pill doubled in size, and that's what it's currently working through. So I'm going to let it fix it, and I'll let it fix on my own and we'll continue with it. You can also see on the right here that I've used my design style and actually updated all the brand in my actual AIOS workspace. So I can actually use this further for new builds and general assets. But that does it for us. So the whole flow went, we created our design style with Claude Design with some help from Claude Code. We then took that design style or that design system and put it into a prototype back within Claude Design. And then we used that prototype, gave it back to Claude Code and allowed Claude Code to do a full rebuild and redesign of the app. But that's it. If you have apps that you use every day that you've built for yourself, or ones that you're trying to go create a SaaS out of and market and push out and sell, I recommend Claude Design as a first step, especially with the new Claude Design 2.0 in designing your own website or app or whatever, especially if you're not a designer. But that's it for this video. I just redesigned an app I use every day in about an hour and a half. I didn't need a designer, no design degree. So if your own tools look rough, you can do exactly this. And if you got something from this, subscribe. I post every Tuesday and Friday with regular AI videos. And I would love you to tell me one thing in the comments. What's a tool that you use every day that works great, but looks like it was built in 2010? Drop it in the comments and we can argue over which tool looks worse. See you in the next one.